Well, this might just be the biggest AMD drama ever. Let's talk about it. Okay, so the last thing that AMD needs right now is some drama when it comes to their GPUs, as over the years they've gotten a pretty bad rap when it comes to their driver stability and that sort of stuff, as there has unfortunately been a couple of generations where they had some major problems. Now, luckily, this generation, in my opinion, has been actually overall very good. In fact, I've had less issues with AMD than I've had with NVIDIA when it comes to their GPUs, so I'm actually pretty impressed with how things have been going. But of course, all good things must come to an end, and today is the day, it looks like, because yes, AMD just did something that is going to haunt them for years. What did they do? Well, ooh, this is a bad one. People are getting banned who are using AMD graphics cards. And this is definitely, in my opinion, a worst case scenario from a PR perspective for AMD, because let's be honest, for years now going forward, people are going to point back to this and say, I'm not going to use AMD because look what happened here. My account got banned permanently and I never got it back. I mean, we'll see whether or not that happens. Allegedly, people should be getting their accounts back, but we'll see. I hope that's the case. But what happened here, guys, is AMD put out a new driver which did enable Anti-Lag Plus in Counter-Strike 2, and this is where the issues started to pop up, but trust me guys, it gets so much worse than that. So the first thing that went wrong is Counter-Strike had this to say about Anti-Lag Plus. Quote, AMD's latest driver has made their Anti-Lag/Plus feature available for Counter-Strike 2, which is implemented by detouring engine DLL functions. If you are an AMD customer and play Counter-Strike 2, do not enable Anti-Lag Plus. Any tampering with Counter-Strike code will result in a VAC ban. Once AMD ships an update, we can do the work of identifying affected users and reversing their ban at AMD. And then AMD responded with their own Twitter post here where they said AMD has been alerted to an issue which gamers playing Counter-Strike 2 with AMD Anti-Lag Plus technology enabled on Radeon graphics are inadvertently triggering a Valve anti-cheat system ban VAC ban. AMD is engaged with Valve to address the issue and will provide more details as they become available. And this is really bad. This is definitely going to push people away from AMD, but it gets worse. Oh boy, here we go. There's a videocards.com article where apparently this might not just be in Counter-Strike 2. This could be affecting, I don't know for sure, but my guess would be potentially any game that uses Valve's anti-cheat system. So if you're using an AMD graphics card right now, you might be glad you watched this video, because I'm going to tell you right now, do not enable Anti-Lag Plus on, honestly, to be safe, I would say for the moment, since I don't know for sure which games do or don't use Valve's anti-cheat system, if you're playing an online multiplayer game, just don't enable it. Just don't until there's a new driver and something that comes out from AMD, because I don't know every single game that does or doesn't use it. So let's just do that. And if you do that, you should be fine. But if you don't, there could be some other games that were posted over on videocards.com as some threads, I believe, from users who are allegedly maybe complaining that Anti-Lag Plus might have gotten them banned in games such as Call of Duty Warzone and Apex Legends, which, yeah, those are some pretty popular games, guys. So that is not good to see. And yeah, we'll see whether or not more games start to pop up. But it goes even deeper, because it looks like AMD might have already pulled the driver, as well as the Twitter user HXL actually posted 23.10.1 not found, already deleted, waiting for the new version. And he actually posted a screenshot and a link, which, yeah, it looks like it's no longer available for download. So this is a very serious problem. Then someone else on Twitter, Charlie, chimed in by saying AMD taking more brand damage the last 24 hours will be way worse for them than the AM5/Ryzen 7000 burning fiasco. And to be honest with you guys, I kind of agree, because NVIDIA and AMD have both had their problems. They've had, NVIDIA had some problems with the connector and Ryzen problems with, I think it had something to do with like maybe SoC voltage or something. It was a little while ago. NVIDIA had like 20 series Space Invaders that people talk about too. So like there's been problems for both brands, but those have been hardware issues that has not been getting people permanently banned from a game, assuming that they don't get their accounts back, which hopefully they do. And if they do, this could be, not too bad, but it definitely is scary as a user. And that's something that will drive people away. And to prove that, there was another user who goes by Everest who asked whether or not people would be actually purchasing AMD cards going forward after this. And the results are not good, guys. Out of 346 responses, which is not a lot, over 35% of people are saying they are no longer going to buy AMD cards in the future. Now, let's be honest, a huge majority of those people are probably like hardcore NVIDIA enthusiasts that weren't going to buy AMD regardless. But even if maybe 10% of those people were people who did buy an AMD card or were considering it and have gotten banned or are scared of getting banned, 10% of your customers basically saying they will never try you again is a disaster. So the best thing that AMD can do at this point in time is get on this. They've deleted the driver already, which is good. Get people's account bans reversed and hope that this story does not go out to too many major news outlets by the time they've gotten it fixed. Because if they take too long to get this fixed and it starts going the rounds and more people start getting banned, that's going to be a big problem. And this is going to be something that could cause serious brand damage to AMD going forward, which is a real shame, guys, because to be honest with you, like I've said, I've actually had less issues with AMD. I think, honestly, they're really underrated. I think they're a lot more stable than they've ever been in the past. In fact, in my opinion, in my experience, even more stable than NVIDIA for the most part. It depends on what you do, of course. And I do think they offer much better value in the GPU market right now. So I have been and will continue to recommend AMD graphics cards for a lot of the GPUs that are available on the market over NVIDIA right now, because NVIDIA's prices are just way too high, and I just don't think they're worth it anywhere from, like, if we're going to be generous, probably like the 4070 through the RTX 4080. None of those graphics cards are at good prices. They all need to see price drops before I start recommending them once again. And AMD has been dropping prices on their cards, and they have been getting more aggressive, hence why I've started to recommend them, whereas in the past I wasn't, as they did launch some of their cards too high as well. So I think this is really unfortunate for AMD. It's at the absolute worst time when they were really starting to turn things around. They're getting way more aggressive on pricing. They were getting way better with their drivers. And then something like this happens. So AMD, hopefully you can fix this going forward here pretty quickly so you can turn this around, because I'd hate to see this be another situation where people continue to point at AMD and go, bad drivers, bad drivers, bad drivers, when in reality, are they actually worse than NVIDIA? I guess it depends on your point of view. For you, maybe NVIDIA drivers are actually better, especially if you're getting banned on AMD, and especially if you never get your account back. That would be absolutely horrible, and I don't blame people at all for being nervous about buying a product that might get them banned from a game. That is so bad. And AMD, you have got to have a better quality check on this stuff before you put it out, because even though over the last 3 months I've had an absolutely fantastic experience overall with AMD drivers, the fact that something like this slipped its way through is not good, and you've got to pay more attention to what you're doing and how it affects the games before you implement it. But that's just what I think. Do you think that AMD is in the wrong, or do you think that it's actually all Valve's fault? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and NVIDIA release new GPUs. Also, if you want to see more, check out one of these related videos. You won't be disappointed.